In this video, I do an unboxing of a bunch of Archon Studio terrain for their current Kickstarter. But before we get into that, let me share with you what the GGGG is for this month. Each month, Bob the Beholder picks some of my Patreon supporters to receive gratitude gifts. And for this month of January of 2022, we have K-Walled Modular Sci-Fi Terrain printed and painted sampler set, as well as 3 pledges for the campaign that's going on right now. We have a bunch of credits for the level 427 terrain, and a lot of the stuff that we're going to be unboxing, which I'm not 100% sure what it is, but that will also be part of the gratitude gifts for this month. In addition, we're going to have $100 towards the crowdfunder, which the top tier Patreon supporters will be voting upon. So go ahead and use the link below to go to my Patreon page to see what the list is. That list will continue to be populated throughout the month. So Archon Studios did send me actually 2 boxes this time. They sent this box back a couple months ago, and then this I think is the new stuff for the current Kickstarter campaign. By the time I post this video, the Kickstarter will be live, but what I'm going to be showing you is the preview page, so go ahead and use the timestamps below if you want to skip to that. So let's go ahead and open this up, and I always appreciate Archon Studios because they send a lot of terrain from their previous Kickstarters so that it can be used as part of the gratitude gifts for my channel, which I appreciate a lot, and I'm sure a lot of my patrons also appreciate as well. So thank you so much. The other thing I really like about Archon Studios is that they're super responsive to the feedback that I and other people have given, and that has resulted in changes in their sprues and in their sets. But this actually looks like pieces from their current Kickstarter, so the urban set. So I'll go ahead and take a look at this, which I'm curious as to know what this set is. And as always, a lot of these are preview kits that are not going to be finalized, and I know that they're going to make some changes already. So just keep that in mind as you look at parts of this video. So this looks super cool. It is a tank, the Wolverine tank, which looks totally awesome. This is the Rampart modular terrain, which I'm pretty sure is from a previous Kickstarter. And this is the Eternal Cathedral, which actually I know a lot of other YouTubers have gotten multiple sets of this. I think Blackmagic Craft got some of these sets, or maybe it was a different one and made a massive amount of terrain with it. So excited about that. This is definitely one of the GGGGs. And then we also have the Cobalt Foundry core set as well, which again I think is from one of their previous sets. And one of the intimidating things about both of these sets is that, at least how they colored it, there are so many colors on there, and I know some of it is airbrushed, but this would take forever. I think if I were to paint it, I would make it much simpler or monocolor. But both of these sets look super cool. I'm not going to open these since they're going to be part of the GGGGs, but these sets look super awesome. So since this is part of the current Kickstarter, I wonder what this extra box is that they sent me. So let's go ahead and open this up. These are the walls. Oh, and so these are the floors and these are the walls. I think maybe they didn't get the walls printed out in time, and so it had to be mailed separately. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off the sprues and come up with some builds. So after taking it off the sprue and cutting off all of the little nibs on the edges, I go ahead and just use some super glue to assemble some of the pieces together. And you don't need a lot because these push fit relatively well, but I'm going to go ahead and glue them in. And you got to make sure that the bottom with these ridges are lining up so that you don't put it upside down. And then this spot over here requires a little cap to go on. It fits in there relatively easily. And for these magnets, these will take 5mm diameter magnets. And here I have 5 by 2mm. and we'll see if these work or whether or not we need actually more like 5x5s, but we'll see. So I'm just going to add a little bit of super glue in the hole. And the trickiest part of this is making sure you keep the polarity the same. And so I'm just going to put it towards this direction on all of these sides. So that seems to have worked pretty well. And then I'm curious about this piece that we just glued, whether or not that's going to be strong enough to hold. Check the polarity. We actually want the opposite polarity on this, the one we just stuck in. So that means we need to put in this piece, not this piece down here. So I'm going to flip it over and try to stick it in here. Oops. See, this is what I was afraid of. It pushed in all the way. I could stick another one in there, but I think the magnet is strong enough that I don't need a for it to be flush. So we'll see. We'll experiment. So now I got to flip this back over and then put it in these two holes, which I'll do now. Obviously, if you don't want to use magnets, you can use these little pegs, and they fit in these holes and they go together. But I just want to see what it looked like with the magnets, and sure enough, I think it looks pretty good. It isn't quite strong enough where you can drag it across the table, but you can pick it up like this and it will stay together. So I definitely like the magnets a lot. And honestly, this is cheap enough where you can pretty much get as many pieces as you want and configure them the way that you want and just glue them together instead of either using the pegs or the magnets. But the reason why I like the magnets is look how quick it is. Don't need to mess with the pegs at all. And storage is a lot easier because you can flatten this all out to store it away, and so it takes way less space if you do it this way. But if you have the room, I would actually suggest gluing a couple of pieces together. Again, this is one of the cheapest options that you're going to have to fill up your board with terrain. Especially if you don't have a 3D printer, this is a fantastic way to do it. So this is, I think, is a great option. And again, just having these pegs down here aligns it so that it's not twisting like this, but will stay relatively in place like that. So this is a great option, definitely, for filling up. And now with this, it's definitely sci-fi or modern terrain that you can create. And then in order to add height, you do need the longer pegs, and you just stick it in along the tops like so. And you grab these. And this enables you to use these pegs here to stick them along like this. And then you can add more walls up here like so. Now, a number of other YouTubers have said that this gap here is unsightly, so I know that Archon Studios is probably going to come up with a cosmetic solution that keeps you from being able to see these gaps. But otherwise, I think, again, this is fantastic. And having floors as an option is great because then you can have your miniature sitting along here and having multi-tier so that it isn't just walls that you are creating, which I think is fantastic for gameplay. So here's the Kickstarter page. Now this is the preview page. They might make some last minute changes. Again, I am filming the day before this goes live, so don't be surprised if there are some changes in the final Kickstarter page, but Let's go ahead and take a look at this. You can watch this live stream launch if you want. And I'm not 100% sure what time this is supposed to kick on the 11th. But here is the tank that I showed you. And maybe this is another machine that you can get. But also miniatures. There's a lot of miniature. Oh, let's go ahead and look at the pledges. You have the miniatures only pledge for 50 euros, which is about 57 US dollars. And then for 59 euros or about $67, you can pick one of the terrain sets, or 99 euro or $112. You get a terrain set as well as the vertical bundle or city defenders pack and all unlocked stretch goals. This does give you stretch goals as well up here. And then for 149 euros or $169, you get 2 terrain sets of your choice. So the more you get, the better of a deal that you are going to get, obviously. So just pick a level that is most affordable for you. If I wanted to fill out a whole table, I would get at least this mass battle pledge or this complete, because you're going to get 3 sets of terrain, as well as down here is 4 times the number of terrain, which is quite a bit to be able to cover your entire table, as well as all of these extras, including the tank and the stretch goals from both the first and second Rampart Kickstarters. So really, if you want to fill out your entire board, this is actually a pretty good deal. 349 euros is almost 400 US dollars. It's still one of the cheaper ways to fill out your entire board. So let's go ahead and scroll down. This is just showing you how it works. And they're showing off the 99 euro pledge level, where you get to pick either the Gothic, the Tribal, or the Industrial style of terrain. And then finally, the new one is the City terrain, which I was showing you. Now this is what I think is awesome right here. With the floors now, you're able to build these ramps, scaffolding, there's a bridge, there's stairs. This really, I think, creates the set to be more versatile, because you're able to make actual buildings and then create different levels like this. In my opinion, I think having the floors really increases the amount that you can do with it. And all of these floors can be used with any of these sets. So if you ordered from any of the previous Rampage Kickstarters and you have them already, you can just order the floors, and you will be able to add them to the sets that you currently have, which is awesome that it works retroactively. And then this is just showing you, again, here's the magnetized version. That's definitely the version that I would go with. And they're saying use 5x3. I used 5x2 and that still worked. And here's a better picture, close-up of all of the different items. And these Kickstarters tend to have really good stretch goals, because they tend to raise quite a bit of money. But I think this is a great example of a paint scheme that you can use. There is quite a bit of detail on them. So like I said before, it might take some time, but you might want to check out some of the speed painting videos that I've made in how to make or paint terrain really quickly. I used it on some of my GW terrain. And in the base set, these are all of the items that you are getting. And I love that they have a lot of ruined pieces as well, because that's going to create opportunity for some partial cover with a lot of your games, which I like a lot. And then here's some adornments. And this is great. You get a topper to go on top of the top platform, so it doesn't look quite so ugly with just open holes for the pegs. So they're going to go through all of the different options that you can get with that base pledge. Again, here's the Cobalt Foundry. So I would say most of these you're going to use with sci-fi games, although I do think that the Cathedral could be used, as well as this Kazumi Temple could be used for fantasy as well, equally well, between either 40K or something like that, or D&D. So these I think are a little bit more versatile in the sense that you can use it for either game. Whereas the city, I think, is obviously more contemporary or futuristic. These guys look a lot like female Death Krieg Corps with the gas masks on. So this is actually a really good deal because for about $60, a little bit less than $60 US, you can create a pretty good squad or begin an army with these plastics. And you actually get some psychics. These are super cool. You actually have riders, which I think is really neat. And then you have sort of like Ogren. So actually, just in terms of starting an army or a pretty large squad for about $60, you can start off with these miniatures and have field a pretty good amount of soldiers. So that's actually pretty tempting. And here are a bunch of other people who did reviews, so make sure to check those out. Oh, this is great. So here PVA Blood has a quick painting tutorial for the industrial ruins, which is exactly what I would use. So this is a better explanation, I think, of the different pledge levels, because basically what they're saying is for 99 euros, you can pick one of these sets, and then also pick either the vertical bundle, which is what I would pick if I wanted really to focus in on the terrain, or you can pick the city defenders. Basically, you're getting the army. And then additionally, you're getting all of the unlocked stretch goals. So this is a great deal. You're basically getting one of the full terrain set, and you're getting your army here, every miniature that's in the army for 99 euros. And then for 150, you get either two different ones, or as I would do, I would pick the same set just so that I would be able to cover more terrain on the board. And then it's the same options here. Plus, you're going to get you're going to get double the amount of stretch goals, which is also a great deal. And then here for 200 euros, you're getting 3 terrain sets, and then 3 times the unlocked stretch goals. And then finally, probably the best deal is 4 sets. So some of these are legacy items, which was provided previously. So if you missed some of these, and we have stretch goals from the 2nd edition as well as the 1st edition, if you want to grab those, this is your opportunity to be able to do that as well. And then here is the miniatures only. They have a good amount of add-ons, although if you're getting the vertical packs, you don't necessarily need to grab these stretch goals because these are all included in most of the advanced pledges. But you're getting bridges here, which I think is super cool. If you just want the floors, to be able to add those to any previous Kickstarters that you've already gotten, this is a way just to buy the floors. And then if you wanted to fill out your army and have more squads, you can just buy these separately. And for 15 euros or about 17 US dollars, this is actually a great deal to be able to get a squad of 6. That's less than $3 per model, which again is a fairly cheap way to build an army. And then here's the tank. This is 30 euros or about 34 US dollars. This plasma silo looks awesome as well. You're able to put toppers on top of the previous terrain. Stretch goals are relatively cheap from previous campaigns. The Starside teaser pack, I'm not 100% sure if this was from a previous campaign or not. I think it was, but don't quote me on that. Oh, and look at this. They do have this model. Look how awesome that looks. This Mammoth Walker. And it is a stretch goal for 800,000 euros. Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on this because I really want this model. That looks so freaking cool. Because they make everything in-house, they actually have plastic injection mold making ability in factory. We don't see some of the delays that we've seen. Possibly maybe with shipping might be an issue, but in terms of actually creating, they do it all in-house. So I have always found them to hit their goals, dates that they state fairly regularly with previous campaigns. So we'll see. But overall, I found them to be more reliable than other Kickstarter campaigns. So there you have it. This Rampage Part 3 kit is really awesome, and use the links below in order to go to the Kickstarter page if you want to jump in on this, as well as any of the other options that they have. And now that we've opened it up, these 3 items are going to be part of the GGGG, where 3 will be chosen by Bob in order to receive each one of these. So I didn't get a chance to paint this up, but you can check out some of my other videos, especially the other terrain kits from Archon Studios. These are super easy to paint up. So this is a great opportunity to fill out your wargaming table with a lot of terrain. So happy building, happy painting. We'll see you next time.